I mean, they just have to.
Yeah. So you've been a victim of this too. I mean, but what do you think? I know you have some things to say about this. The truly unprecedented crackdown on the alt-right. So, as the James Fields case goes on, we remember a year ago after Charlottesville, all these figures like Gavin McInnes and Laura Loomer, they were donating money to the Heather Heyer Fund, which I don't even know where the money of that goes to. But they went from that to, they were signaling, particularly McGinnis and Laura Loomer, against the alt-right, essentially endorsing the censorship. And now they've been censored. So
yeah.
What do you think? What do you think is going through the minds of the FBI and the corporate media oligarchs and the Zionist element that controls our cultural power? What's going through their mind that they're starting to criminalize, flag-waving patriotards like they're neo-Nazis? Do you think they're just acting out of fear?
This is an interesting question. I mean, let's remember what just happened today. I haven't read too much up on it, but I've just seen images of Laura Loomer, who has chained herself to Twitter's headquarters, I guess either in Silicon Valley or New York or someplace. And she's wearing all black. She has her new black hair. She's not dyeing it blonde. And she's wearing a gold star. Like she's a Holocaust victim. I mean, it is just bizarre. It is a self-parody. It's exactly how I think Laura Loomer would want to protest something. Apparently getting, kicked off Twitter is I guess, another Showa in this case.
Yeah.
But it's truly bizarre and tasteless, to say the least. But yeah, I don't know how this is going to shake out, because I have suffered from this, and there has been just a massive chilling effect on my work, and particularly in the sense of payment processing, YouTube. I basically feel like Jack has decided that I'm going to keep my Twitter account, that this is basically my window to the world, and he won't get rid of that. But in all other ways, there has just been a massive chilling effect. I have gone through so much bureaucratic hell over the past year and a half, even with like public venues basically dragging their feet to the point that they do not want me to host a conference or things like that. It's just, it has been terrible. And I do think it is interesting about the alt-right, where they're caught in this kind of pincer like place where, you know, they think that they can attack us and that they're going to be treated as equals by the left and by the elite in Silicon Valley. And that is just simply not happening. Now, whether they'll actually start to defend us, the alt-right has defended us on occasion. There are these moments in time where we're kind of semi on the same page and we're not attacking each other. But there are also moments of time of just vicious, totally stupid attacks on the alt-right. Whether they will actually learn their lesson, we're seeing Proud Boys are declared an extremist hate group with violent intentions by the Trump administration. And how do they react? They say, we denounce the alt-right. You know, and it's like, you know,
it
it's
helps
like,
them none.
Right. I don't, you know, Gavin, I did not do this to you. like Eric Stryker did not do this to you. You don't need to denounce us. And like they just double and triple down on the patriotardedness while it's going on. It's just truly bizarre. But I don't know. I think it's ultimately a good thing.
It's
ultimately a good thing to be deplatformed.
It's very typical of conservatives that, you know, whenever you know, they might get bitten by a rabid dog and they go, ow, that hamster just bit me. It's always done through euphemisms, and it's always blaming the guy next to you in the trench rather than the enemy. Why? Because it's easier. Conservatism is essentially a negative position nowadays. And, you know, in fact, it's always been, you know, reaction is always a negative position. So I find that, you know, without a more revolutionary theory, a more revolutionary political philosophy, These people are in big trouble, just like nationalists are, just like radicals are. The truth is no defense. So the Proud Boys are very clearly not racist in the in the typical sense. I mean, they have gay Indian spokesmen and stuff like that. They're just basically militant neocons in some ways.
Yeah.
And yet they're treated exactly the same because they're able to challenge Judeo left cultural power on the street. So clearly the liberals,
and they're just an image of like, it's not even who the Proud Boys are, it's who they might have been or whom they might become. It's an image. The Proud Boys are just an image of a uncucked kind of badass men's group, like a Männerbund, which is the very basis of civilization, like the primal basis of civilization. And that is not going to be tolerated in any form.
Yeah. No, I think that the attempt to reverse engineer the authoritarian personality, to quote the Frankfurt School, any attempt to create any kind of bonds between two goyim, anytime that happens, you're going to be suppressed. I mean, the Proud Boys, one of the things that they really hate about them that you often see in literature attacking the Proud Boys is it's nothing about their ideology. It's some of the rules they have. For example, Proud Boys are supposed to abstain from porn and masturbation.
Right.
Why is the system so upset about that? Well, it's because they see pornography as a way to kind of stupefy and slow down and sterilize men, especially white men. And the Proud Boys rebelling against that creates a new a more virile energy, more virile political movement. And they do look tough. They can fight. They are pretty solid in the street. And so because they're not able to intimidate them with paramilitary left-wing violence, the government has to step in. The Rosenstein Department of Justice has to come in and start sniffing up their ass, which is the real reason why Gavin McInnes dropped out.
Yeah, let me say this. I'm going to have to go. I actually have a very important call that I have to jump on, do this other stuff. I would stay for another, like at least half hour, another hour, but I'll definitely come back. But let me end this on just, hold on. Yes. Let me just end this on just a couple of quick notes. First off, imagine, like, it wasn't just the conservatives who engage in backbiting and who basically say, oh, it's the guy next to me who's to blame for all this stuff. It was also the alt-right. And everyone knows, I mean, Charlottesville represented a moment where we were all working in parallel. There was no attacks on one another. We were communicating and so on. Post-Charlottesville, that was just an example of a total breakdown in communication amongst groups. And just this kind of, like, the whole optics thing was just this, like, it was ironic. Many of the people who promoted optics have the worst conceivable optics. Some of the people who promoted optics is like, oh, we're the goody two shoes, and we don't. You guys are the problem. And again, it's that, not that bad optics aren't a problem. I get that, but you have to focus on the actual enemy. It's your actual enemy is not going to love you now that you wear polos and khakis. It just doesn't make sense, and it's just fundamentally wrong. It's right on superficial ways, but it's wrong in this deep way. And we are in a worse position. We are not as strong. We are not the cock of the walk that we were in 2017. It's just period, end of statement. So all these people saying things like, oh, we won that debate, or look how much better. We are so much worse off, because the fact is we have a movement that's divided and divisive, and we're facing massive deplatforming, and we have this like gay ideology of like, let's be as anodyne and boring as possible, which is promoted by people who have no energy and passion and are not good looking and cool. And that's why they do it. It's like, it's like someone, it's like saying like, oh, I think basketball would be a better sport if everyone were under 5'6". It just so happens that I'm 5'5.5". but that has nothing to do with I just want the best for the game. But this is just my suggestion kind of thing. It's just, I'm sick of it. I think everyone knows who I'm referring to. But anyway, I actually do have to go.
Okay.
But I will talk to you guys, gents, soon. This is a really good conversation, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, Richard. It's a shame you have to go, but I understand.
I'll be back.
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
Take care, man.
Okay, bye.